You okay?
I'm
You
handing
got
it
someone
off to
waiting
Erica.
behind you. Thank you.
Good evening, Erica Gran-Cagnolo, Economic Development Department. And we bring this item before you tonight because a partnership opportunity has presented itself related to increasing the inventory of affordable housing in the city of Pensacola. HBA, through the course of conversations, HBA happened to mention that they were looking to build some affordable homes within the city limits on available infill lots. Their goal is to showcase affordable housing construction techniques and to show that while Habitat for Humanity fills one niche in the affordable housing space, that there are other ways to build affordable housing, single-family structures in urban areas. So through the course of conversations and through meetings with Victoria with CRA, it became obvious pretty quickly that there are 3 lots, one with an existing structure that needs rehabilitation and 2 vacant lots that would really fit the bill and be conducive to this type of development. What we're asking for today, similar to the previous item, is permission to begin the public notice period related to the disposition of these properties. Through our attorney, through the CRA attorney, and through meetings with Adam, we have become aware that we are able to structure this public notice period so that we would be requesting submissions from community land trust organizations. The reason for this is, if you're not familiar with what a community land trust is, it ensures the affordability of the home in perpetuity. So what the community land trust does, it separates the ownership of the home from the ownership of the property. The property remains with the land trust. The home is built on the property through a 99-year lease period. And so the affordable homeowner, the homeowner would qualify in terms of affordability. They would purchase the home. They would live there just as if they were a homeowner. But the rules of the lease agreement would really come into play at any point that the homeowner is looking to sell the home. There will be limits on how the home is sold. The resident, the owner of the home, does get to take advantage of the increase in value in the home. So they do get to take advantage of that, but there's a cap and there are certain restrictions on how the home is sold to ensure that the home is sold and passed on to another affordable another person or individual who or family who qualifies for affordable housing, income qualifying. That's the word I'm trying to say. So we jointly approached Sam Young, who's here in the audience. We obviously also have Jennifer Mancini, and they are ready to speak to you today on what we're working toward. The existing structure that has been established through Habitat for Humanity. Through Habitat, the existing structure with the community land trust is a mechanism that's already in place. So it would be a much more efficient process for us to utilize that existing structure for the purposes of moving forward, as opposed to us internally creating the staff and creating the mechanisms to vet the homeowner to create these agreements from scratch and to manage this process. So we have this existing structure in place. The 3 organizations would partner together, the city, Habitat, and the HBA, and we would like to move forward. We do have somewhat of a deadline related to this. The HBA would like to showcase these homes in their fall parade of homes, which we see as a benefit to the city in terms of promoting affordable housing and promoting different approaches to affordable housing. So I may have left a few items off there. I'm happy to answer any questions, but first I'm going to turn it over to Adam, and then we'll give Jennifer and Sam the opportunity to speak, and of course we're here for any questions. Thank you.
I think
Was
Erica
there
did,
anything she left off?
no, I think Erica did a great job summarizing the structure. I mean, it's a lot like a ground lease that the city gives, right? The city wants to keep and maintain that property for whatever its city purposes are, so it'll give a lease, knowing it can control the use of that property through that lease, and at the end of the lease, it gets to retain the property. Land trust is very, very similar, except instead of the city, you have a nonprofit entity that will hold title to the real estate and manage the long-term lease on behalf of the trust, and basically make sure that the improvements are built, financed, purchased, and sold, all while the community land trust continues to own that dirt. The way that we would structure it with the city or the CRA, frankly, is an additional layer on top of that to make sure that there is a contractual agreement between that land trust entity and the city to further add that layer of protection that, okay, we have some level of confidence on an ongoing basis and in perpetuity, frankly, that this property will be used for affordable housing.
It's completely exciting. I mean, honestly, I think I met with Sam a few years ago now, and he was hammering at me that the only way to do this stuff with a land trust, and I did not see any hope for us doing land trust within the city. So I'm completely excited. My interpretation, and I just want to see if this, but if I were a firefighter who got this house and I'm in that pay range, and then I make money off of it, maybe I'm there 12 years, 10 years, something like that, and prices have obviously escalated a little bit. But in those 12 years, essentially the person with the same job I started with, and there is now going to be able to get that house. And I think that's the interesting way to look about this when we're watching all these prices escalate. So even though hopefully that firefighter's pay will continue to go up in those 12 years, but now wherever it is now, that same person essentially will get to have this home. That is a fair representation? They're nodding yes, so I'm assuming that that's good. Thanks, I'm completely excited. I'm on board, so, Board Member Bear?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and it's great. My only question is, we've got two properties that are in the CRA, one's currently in the city. Are we going to transfer that one into the CRA, or does that matter? The Spring Street property, which is currently owned by the city?
No, I don't believe that's necessary, but we would still include that as part of our 30-day public notice.
Okay, so as long as the property is located within the CRA in a redevelopment district, we could use it as part of the land trust? Is that the case?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And also, some of these agreements we're still working out, pending approval today. During this 30-day public notice process, we'll work with our attorneys and continue to move forward refining the agreements related to this, and we'll bring them back to this board for final approval before everything is finalized.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor?
First, before I said anything, I want to give Jennifer or Sam any opportunity. I know Erica covered a lot of the ground game. Any other, anything you'd like to add?
Thank you all. We're very excited about this as well. I approached Sam to talk about doing this, and then Erica as well. We really can't build these types of houses if we have to purchase the land and we pay regular fees for all these top-of-the-line materials and for the labor and for the cost of the builder. But this is all going to be done based on donations from our members. They're going to work for free. Our suppliers, our vendors are going to donate materials. So that's why we're able to showcase a really exceptional, special product that we can do with this means of delivering something that may not fall into the stigma of cookie cutter or basic affordable housing. It's a special project. We can only do it because of the unique partnership. And we would hope to do this every year, if we can, to provide a service to our community through the HBA membership. So thank you for the opportunity. We're really excited as well. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Exciting things.
Good afternoon. I think everybody knows who I am, and I think I've met everybody here. But for the record, Sam Young, CEO of Pensacola Habitat. I'd hoped to come and speak to you, I think, at the last CRA, but I was at the FPL symposium and was unable, and I think Mike Stahl came in and read a statement on my behalf. This project is really interesting, and let me explain why. When we developed the land trust, it was really to meet a need that had been going unmet for too long, and that is the ability to allow somebody in the lowest income bands to be able to acquire their own home and to start creating some wealth for themselves, for their children, for generations to come. And as a result of the growing gap between wages and home prices, our ability to serve these folks in the low income range had just kept creeping up. We used to be able to serve a 30 or 40% AMI family. We no longer can. We're creeping up to about 60% as our minimum. So the land trust was a vehicle in which we were going to be able to again provide safe, secure, stable homes for families in those low income ranges. And that continues to be our focus. You may have read that last year we received an appropriation, the first and only land trust appropriation that the state of Florida has granted. We again received one from the legislature. We're hoping that the governor approves it. So just between those two appropriations, we think we're going to end up with about 60 to 70, maybe 80 lots in the land trust. The Impact 100 grant allowed us to acquire about 7 or 8. We've had some donations. So this land trust will quickly have up to 100 lots by maybe the end of calendar year 25. And they are largely going to serve that low-income population. But this project demonstrated the flexibility of the land trust. With the homes that they're building, these are probably not somebody making $25,000 or $30,000 a year. The land trust is going to serve all the way up to 120%. So if it is the firefighter that we were just referring, that is the appropriate buyer, then we will write the land lease, the underlying lease for this land trust property, to be able to income bracket 120% as this property moves on and on and on, generation to generation. So I tell you that because I think it's a key component to make this project work. But as you start considering other projects, other parcels that you might want to consider for the land trust, it isn't just a narrow income band. We can start adapting this trust to allow other types, workforce housing, into the land trust. And the beauty of that is, as the chair was just demonstrating, that it targets certain populations and it allows us to continue to target those populations for the intended properties. So we're really excited about this. We're really excited to partner with Jennifer, Erica, the city, and use this as a demonstration of not only the power, but the flexibility of the land trust. So with that, I'll open up to any questions.
If I may, just to
Yeah.
have you clarify, because I think that, it's a learning experience for all of us, us and the public, about understanding the land trust. So I want you to explain, if you would, just take one moment about the reason why a land trust is important for in perpetuity and and we've said 99 years, but that is the max, right?
No, that's
Here we
actually
go.
not the max.
Is it not?
It's renewable. It's a 99-year
Okay,
renewable lease.
but it's 99 at once. It's
It
a
is.
99-year
The
lease.
first
And so
one is
when we
99.
talk about in perpetuity, this is the best we can do, is just a reminder to that. And so it's not something, because we've even heard about, people think that it'll be something that's turned over very quickly and escalate in price, and then the city's lost their money, but that's
Yeah.
why this is so important.
Well, and it's really, gentrification is getting so much notoriety and subject of all sorts of discussion in the community at the municipal level. And this is also a real tool for gentrification, in the sense that we can put new homes in, but by putting it on a land trust, we are guaranteeing what income brackets are going to remain in there. We're not going to lose these homes to the market. They are going to remain affordable in perpetuity. And I think that's, a really exciting feature.
Huge.
It's also a way to lower the cost of homeownership, because the land cost is subtracted from the purchase price. And, we have a formula that allows not only a return of principal, so all principal paid by the homeowner for the home is returned at, whenever that deed is transferred, but they also get to share in a portion of the appreciation. And our model allows for increased sharing in that appreciation, depending on how long they have remained in the property. So there's incentive for them to remain in that property as long as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I think you have a couple questions.
sure.
Board Member Wiggins?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question, you spoke about gentrification. So let's just say an individual goes through this process, she gets, that family gets a home, and God forbid something happens to whereas the owner of that property dies. What happens with the property then?
Okay,
Does it go back to, how does that work?
So one of two things will happen. They have the right built into the lease to pass on that home to somebody living in that home. So if it's a relative that's living in the home, if it's a spouse who wasn't on the deed, if it's a child, a grown child, then that home can transfer to a family member in accordance with the deed. Now, they were going, if there's a mortgage on that property, they're going to have to figure out how to satisfy the mortgage or refinance. But from the land perspective, they have the right to remain. If there isn't somebody that falls into that category, then the home would sell like any other home. The estate would enjoy the wealth that had been generated. The equity in that home would be passed on to the heirs. And either it would be sold to another income qualified individual, or it would be sold back to the land trust, and then we would turn around and sell it to an income qualified individual.
That's all I have.
Board Member Patton.
Madam Chair. Hi, Sam.
Hi.
So we did discuss at our last CRA meeting the idea of a community land trust. And I think at the time, we hadn't really fleshed out what that looked like. And one of my questions, and you weren't there, so couldn't ask you, is Habitat flexible if we're going to use your land trust in that process? Are you flexible to work with other developers besides just Habitat? And I think this answers that question, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And this would demonstrate that very clearly.
Okay, and that's something that could be utilized potentially on the former Malcolm Young property or some of these other affordable developments that we're looking at as well.
Absolutely.
And just so I understand, and I know Habitat's in the business of providing housing, so I know it fits with your mission, but here you are taking on responsibility for homes that are built by another organization. Sort of, what's in it for you is the wrong way to put it, but,
Why are we doing
why
this?
are you committed to doing this? Yeah.
Because, our mission is to help solve the housing crisis. Nobody else was doing this. It's a unique concept for this area. It's innovative, and it's really powerful. And when this, when I started researching and ultimately committed to doing this, it's because I think without this, we are never, ever going to fix the affordable housing crisis. We have built 1,675 homes, just Pensacola Habitat in greater Pensacola. I'd venture a guess that 1,300 of those homes are no longer affordable to the home buyers that we try and serve. They've been lost to the market. That is not going to change unless we create a land trust and start feeding that land trust and allowing for these homes to pass on in an affordable manner over time.
So I guess even though there are going to be costs incurred, I assume, in the, administering the program and all of that, you see this as an extension of your mission and therefore part of
Absolutely.
of the way you want to give back to the community?
And frankly, the trust is going to stay, to the degree possible, aligned with our overall mission, but it was designed to be flexible enough. And we're not the only solution for affordable housing, and we understand that. So to the degree that we can partner, the degree that we can leverage our efforts. So if we're doing 60 homes a year and somebody else has a solution to do 30 homes a year and they want to use the land trust as a vehicle to reduce the cost, and to maintain the affordability, then by all means, bring it. We're excited to partner. We're excited to be a big part of the solution.
I think that's fantastic. Thank you very much for doing that. I think it's great that the Home Builders Association is also willing to partner, so I think this is great.
I think you've answered it, and thank you so much.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Is there any public comment? No? I'm sorry.
And-
There you are. You
and
just popped up.
just put a cap on this. Like, I don't want it to be lost on this board and this council that this is the precipice of something that has not been done here, that with this action, even in this pilot form, and we'll test something that no council or no CRA board's ever been able to say, which is we're going to put something to the attainable housing pool forever. And I think over the years, over the generations, Sam mentioned it, where that structure hasn't been in place and we've lost homes to the market. I think with that is lost trust in the community that we can do what we say we're going to do, which is to try to take steps to solve this. So, it might just be a couple vacant parcels today, but I do think it's the beginning of something that could be really special here, and something that we can show that trust. We can start to really attack this crisis, which is exactly what it is, a crisis at scale, and gives us this tool that we've never had and we've never utilized here at the city of Pensacola. So I don't want that to be lost on this board or this council, that just even within these two homes, I think this is something that really could be a solution for us long-term and be a really special addition to what we do here at the city.
If I might, I did leave something out of my previous comments. I neglected to thank Meredith for all of the work that she's done related to these properties. This has really been a citywide effort, this with CRA and Housing Department and legal, really jumping on this to try to move this along quickly. So Meredith, I apologize that I didn't mention you previously, but she's been working on these properties and similar initiatives for a long time. So it wouldn't be possible without the work she's done. Thank you.
Mayor, did you have anything else that? I'm very proud of everyone's action on this, and I do think that it gives us the opportunity to learn how to do this and then maybe transfer it onto some larger projects as well. It's a great starting point. So with that, I'll call for a vote. Oh, is there one more? Did I miss? Sorry, Board Member Patton.
So I forgot to ask a question. Thank you, Madam Chair. You can actually build these houses by the fall? That was the first thing that jumped to my mind.
A lot of builders in a room, you can get things built quick.
And one renovated.
That is
One will be
fantastic.
renovated, right? One. Anything else? All right, let's excitedly vote on this. Is it not? Look, we're just going to do it. I'd like to call a vote by hand. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? And this passes unanimously, and I congratulate us all. So with that, we have no more presentations, right? Is there an open forum? Is there any public request for speaking? I have to ask, you don't want to say anything? I know you work on this stuff all the time. We've made a move in your direction.